some reviews, Disney feature-length films, short cartoons. We bought VHS tapes, every title we could. Disney is our business, business is good.
So yeah, this is... What did we decide on the name? Kevin, what's the name of our podcast?
The name's Let's Get Down to Business.
Not Hakuna Matata?
No, it's not. It's Let's Get Down to Business because it's a Mulan reference. We actually asked our friend, who is a huge Disney fan, Josh, what he thought of the title. And he did not like Let's Get Down to Business because he thought it was too much of a deep cut. Well, if you know me, which you probably don't, I like deep cuts. I like you to have to work for it.
Kevin.
What?
Kevin.
What?
He liked my idea.
I don't give a shit. Sometimes he's wrong.
He liked Hakuna Matata.
That doesn't matter.
And it means no worries for your podcast.
But like I see it in my head, and it looks and sounds stupid. And I mean, maybe two grown adults like doing a Disney podcast is inherently stupid.
But calling it Hakuna Matata is even more stupid.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little dorky. I think when I sat down to think of like, how would I draw this for an icon, I guess?
Yeah.
Like
a logo.
Yeah. I couldn't think of anything with Hakuna Matata, but like Let's Get Down to Business made more sense.
It's open-ended.
Yeah, that's true. I mean... Do you want to get down to business?
I think we absolutely should. What are we getting down to business about?
So today we are going to talk about why we're doing this podcast, and we're going to look at a Disney short. We have Donald Duck short on cue here for you, and then we'll be talking about our first feature-length animated movie from Walt Disney, which is Snow White. So
now, did we do that because it was the first animated feature from Disney, or was it actually random? Because I know with a lot of this other stuff, the shorts specifically, we're doing it randomly. We're not going to do it chronologically because that would be moronic, number one, and some of these suck real bad, and I don't want to have to sit through them.
You're going to have to sit through. You barely sat through Snow White. You fell asleep around the midway mark.
I was full.
Yeah. So, no, I decided, executive decision, that we were going to go through the animated theatrical releases chronologically, but you brought up a good point with the shorts, because I was trying to pick a short that would match the theme of the movie. There are so many shorts. There's like 1,000, well, like close to 1,000 shorts. So I put them all in a list in spreadsheets and assigned a number, and we're just picking random numbers for shorts. But as far as the full-length movies go, we will do them in order.
Yeah, chronologically.
Yeah. So you're probably wondering why two grown adults are talking about Disney movies. I myself am a huge Disney fanatic, which was spurred on a little bit more from our recent trip to Disney. Thank you, Josh. And have you seen all the Disney movies?
I don't think so. No. My childhood was not one where we watched all the Disney movies religiously. I know about a lot of them, but it was a little different. Not bad, just different.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm a huge movie buff, which I guess makes it kind of pathetic that I don't really know as much about Disney as you, or like I said, my buddy Josh does. But I know a lot of them. I just don't have the cache of knowledge that you do.
Josh is getting a lot of shout-outs from us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys may meet him eventually,
yeah.
But
if you like Josh, you should go check out their other podcast, the Rick and Morty Minute.
Yes.
And
he also does Cold Beer and Comics.
With Kevin.
Oh.
Shameless plug there. So the other part of this is we always explore a lot of your hobbies, which, can I list them off?
As long as you're not an asshole about it.
No. So we've played Magic together, which I didn't really catch on. It's not really my thing. Baseball.
Woo!
That was the beginning of our relationship. And then you added in football.
Yep.
Basketball.
Yeah.
Boxing.
Yeah.
And I think that's the gist of them. You just kept adding sports into our relationship, and I was like, cool, okay, I'll go along with this. But I'm not really a big sports buff.
Yeah, I am a sports fanatic.
Baseball, I like baseball, though. It's just, I haven't been into it much lately because our team really sucks. I'm a fair weather. I'm sorry. I'm a fair weather fan. So sorry, babe. At least I read that book about the statistical analysis of baseball.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago, and you really haven't put in the effort in a while.
But you thought I was the coolest girlfriend ever.
I know, that was a long time ago.
Like 10 years ago. So Kevin never really does any of my hobbies, so I thought if we did this podcast together as a married couple, it would bring us closer together.
We're gonna save this marriage yet.
Yeah. Don't worry, Mom and Dad, our marriage is not failing.
Sad.
So yeah, let's jump in here and talk about the short we watched. Speaking of boxing, this is kind of up your... I did not plan this. This was up your alley. So Canvasback Duck is a Donald Duck short from 1953. It has Donald Duck and Huey, Dewey, and Louie, not Lewis.
Yeah, that's right.
Louie. What'd you think, babe?
I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
It starts out with Donald. He's taking the boys to the carnival. They're going through all the attractions and stuff like that, and he's doing the typical tests of strength, things along those lines.
He's really strong.
Yeah, he's super strong. And you come to find out that he's actually getting hustled. They're trying to build up his confidence and make him think that he's stronger than what he actually is. And they're kind of... you didn't get that?
No.
Are you serious?
No, I didn't.
It was a hustle. It was a straight hustle.
I figured it was like a carnival and it was like easy games and he was winning all of them because he's Donald Duck and he's showing off to his nephews. And then that weird kid comes along and I was like...
Yeah, and it shows him like hustling him.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't like this kid. I don't really like that. Like, I didn't like the beginning of it because I was like, who is this kid? And then he's like, my uncle can lick your uncle. So
they goad Donald into essentially getting into a boxing match with Pete, who, Disney fans will be familiar with.
Spoiler alert, the kid was not a kid. It was Pete's sidekick.
Yeah.
In disguise.
So they get Donald roped into fighting Pete, and if he can last 3 rounds, he gets $500, which back in the 50s was a lot of money.
A lot of cash.
It obviously doesn't go well for him. Pete is massive. Donald is a pussy.
So there, yeah. So I know you're a big physical comedy guy, and I'm.
You're not.
Yeah, I'm more of a puns and wit kind of person. But how did you feel about the physical comedy in that short?
Oh, that was pretty funny.
Yeah,
it wasn't laugh out loud or anything like that. But it's a time and place thing, which is something that we'll delve into more in the future.
God.
But
yes.
Yeah.
I think as I was watching it, I was a little confused when it got towards the end and they wrapped that weight around his.
Yeah, they were loading up Donald's boxing gloves with any tool they could find so that he could land a knockout punch on Pete to try and get him out of the match. Well, it didn't work, and what ended up happening is Pete left his jaw exposed, and Donald flailed, aimlessly and just tapped it the tiniest amount, and Pete's jaw splinters, and it's revealed that he has a glass jaw, which is a classic boxing term for a boxer who can't take a punch and who is knocked out very easily. So yeah, that's how it ends.
Hey babe,
what's up?
Let's get down to business.
Should we?
Are we?
Yeah, to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Your favorite movie,
The
Snow
Seven
White
Dwarfs.
And the Seven Dwarfs. All right, so I had...
Starting off, before you even start...
Okay.
I haven't done any research, and that's probably going to be a recurring theme in here. She does a lot of it. She does a great job.
Oh, I did barely.
She's holding this all together. Why is it called Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs?
Dwarfs?
With an F. Why is it not dwarves? VES. I'm sure that's something that people have done lots of research on, but I always thought it was dwarves. So when I saw the title, I was like, is this right?
Okay, so let's consult the expert.
the grammarist.
Let's consult the expert Google. Dwarfs from grammarist.com.
Okay.
Yeah, grammarist. Dwarfs is the standard plural of the noun dwarf. Dwarves is a newer variant popularized by English author J.R.R. Tolkien.
So I just got owned because the little bit of research that I actually... No. The internet owned me. You didn't. You suck. No, the little bit of research that I did do, I found that The Hobbit was released the exact same year as Snow White in 1937.
Really?
Yes, but it was later in the year. So since Dwarves is a newer variant based on the J.R.R. Tolkien. Dwarfs would predate it. So yeah,
Gotcha.
There we go. I'm owned. Okay. Continue.
So speaking of that release date, Snow White was released on December 21st, 1937. It is the first full-length animated feature. At least I think the biggest known one. There may have been one in a different country, maybe in Europe, or I don't know. I think it was from Russia, maybe even.
But as we are a U.S. podcast, we only care about the old U.S. of A.
Oh yeah, America. So yeah, that was made in 1937. It was a huge success, although back when Disney was making it, it was referred to as Disney's Folly because they thought it was going to fail.
And even his wife thought it was going to bomb.
Yeah, especially, that's how I feel about your project,
Oh,
Dave.
come on now.
So he had to mortgage his own house. He took out multiple loans. This was a big undertaking. It was a lot of money.
In the 30s.
In the 30s.
In the 30s.
Yeah. It paid off, though. It was the highest grossing film for that year. It was knocked out by Gone with the Wind, which, as we know, is also a classic.
Yes.
So, we saw that in...
Redford. Yes, and it was great.
In the old-timey
It had an
theater.
intermission.
Oh, yeah.
It
That was a long...
Very cool.
That was a long movie. But yeah, so that's a little background history there. I remember seeing this movie as a kid. I think my mom got me the VHS. The same VHS that we watched. Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about the VHS.
We have to get into the movie at some point.
It's okay. It's okay. So Kevin is really cheap, and so I thought I'd appeal to his thrifty side.
Yeah, I want you guys to know that this was not my idea.
So I was like, I'll go rent the DVDs from
Family Video, which is a local chain. They are great.
Video stores still exist.
Yeah, one of them.
So I went there and I saw that the DVDs, usually the kid DVDs are free, but Disney ones are $1 a piece. And I was like, I'm not going to pay $1 a piece for a Disney DVD.
That's way too much money.
Way too much
oh my God,
yeah.
there's so many of these movies.
Price gouging. So the other part of it is your PlayStation ejects randomly. So I was like, we can't watch a Blu-ray.
Automatically.
Yeah. Beep, beep, beep. That's what it does. So I was like, we can't do it that way because then I will never get through the movie. So I was like, babe, let's invest in VHS tapes.
Yes, this is a foolproof plan.
Yeah, but you loved the idea. Because the VHS tapes are 49 cents at your local Goodwill. However, I didn't take into account the fact that I would also have to buy the VCR.
Yep.
And
AV cables.
AV cables.
Yeah, make sure that we have ports in our television for that because it's 2018.
Our 2018 4K HD TV that doesn't have connections.
Hashtag humble brag.
Yeah. But, we thought we could play it off and be like, hipsters. Like,
No, see, I didn't want to be a hipster. You wanted to be a hipster.
I want to be a hipster. So
like, I want you guys to understand that I know, I don't think I would say there's an undercurrent necessarily, but I've seen stuff on the internet to the tone of people watching VHS, like, ironically. And like, oh God, yeah, this is so amazing. One of the guys that I have done a podcast with, Phil Bernard, has a gigantic horror VHS collection, so he enjoys it. I don't want to do this with the thought of, it just looks so much better, because it doesn't.
No.
But I will say, it does not look as bad as you would think that it does.
No, not at all.
And the reason that she wanted to do this originally, especially with the updated Blu-rays and stuff like that, is she didn't want to have the completely remastered and updated versions.
Don't touch them up. Leave them like they were. They were beautiful before. I love seeing the pencil lines. I like the faded colors. Just leave them alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I wanted them to look like how they looked when we watched them as kids.
So yeah, what happened when we were on our trek to get the VHS player? Because while she had this idea, she didn't want to spend that much money and upset me for whatever reason.
I was thinking of
she was
you.
thinking about me, she says. So she wouldn't buy a fucking $5 VCR to play these VHS tapes that cost 50 cents a piece. So
I had you in mind.
Yeah, so we wait until later in the day. We go to our local Goodwill because we're like that. We're those people.
I'd seen it there earlier, and I bought
She's like, oh, well, who's going to buy a VCR? Nobody's going to buy that. It's 2018.
That is not what I said.
I don't care. I'm a master of impressions.
Anyway, no, stop. It's my story. So
No, I tell them better.
I went to Goodwill, and they, at the time, had a whole collection of VHS tapes. There was a VCR, and I was like, nope, Kevin's going to get mad if I spend money.
I'm not like that.
Because I always complain that I don't have any money, and then I end up using our money anyway. And so I was like, I'll go home, I'll discuss it because we're a marriage.
Oh, yeah, we're a team, you guys.
We're a team. And then I'll take him back later if he approves. And he approved. So we went back together. You know how much you hate shopping.
Oh, I do. I hate it so much. So we're in this fucking Goodwill. We find the VHS tapes, but the first thing that we went for was the VCR because that would only make sense because it is the means to the end. There is no VCR. It's gone. It's been purchased. Shockingly, it's been purchased. Okay? I knew this was going to happen.
I can't believe it. Someone bought a VCR.
So yeah, that happened, and we had to go all over town, literally, like to multiple different locations.
No, we did
Goodwills.
not.
We went to we had to go to a Salvation Army and give those bastards our money.
You're embellishing. I know, I did.
But we finally got the VCR. We get it home, and as we said, we didn't have the AV cables to actually play it on our television. And the television itself doesn't have AV ports. It has I think a breakout cable port or something like that.
And then I got talked down to because I went to some local like computer salvage place, and I was like, "Do you have the AV cables that go from this to this?" And he looked at me and was like, "You're trying to go from analog to digital, so that's not going to work." And I was like, "Well, then why do they sell them on Amazon, you motherfucker?" You fucking elitist asshole.
So yeah, the moral of the story is don't be a cheapskate because we wasted all that time and we still spent, a little bit of money on this shit.
If time is money.
If time is money, then we just wasted a shitload and now we have a VCR for our troubles.
I love our VCR.
I don't. It's an ugly piece of shit. It's a
like
Zenith.
It's like what people say about the experience of vinyl. Like,
fuck you.
You gotta take it out.
No,
and
it's so it's so warm when you watch a VHS and you have to fucking rewind manually.
You have to watch all the previews.
Yeah, in 2018, I'm rewinding a fucking tape manually. Get out of here. What a waste of time.
Oh.
Anyway, the movie. Let's get down to business, you guys. Let's check out Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Yeah, no business. So my mom bought me this VHS way back in the day, and I remember watching it. It was not my favorite Disney movie, especially not my favorite Disney princess movie. I never really connected with Snow White the way I like other princesses. Yeah, so I do like the old style where they start off with the credits. I think that's very nostalgic. It's very cool. It's
very classy.
Yeah. It had this kind of storybook intro where the book opens and there's words, and my only concern with that was like, this is a movie for kids, and how are they reading it? So especially when it premiered back in 1937. Like how... Like, did they have someone narrate it out loud? You just ask the older kid next to you? I don't know.
I don't think they cared.
I don't know.
They were probably still working kids back then, so they didn't really give a shit about them.
So it starts off with the evil queen talking to the magic mirror, and I thought that the special effects for the mirror actually looked really good.
Yeah.
The smoke, the flames, the way that they did the voice. I guess the guy who did the voice had his head surrounded by like drum. Mm-hmm. I don't know what you call them. Drum heads. I don't know. To kind of have that tinny, reverberating sound. And I thought the queen looked fucking fierce.
Don't ever say fierce.
No,
Jesus Christ.
Babe, she looked good. Like,
now you could say you could say she looks hot as hell.
I like
maybe.
She's a cartoon, that's weird.
With that sick ass crown and them eyebrows.
She had some interesting eyebrows. Yeah, those are good eyebrows. No, I liked her character design a lot. I liked her as a character. I thought she was very menacing. I know the woman who played her, who did her voice, she would take out her her false teeth to do the voice of her aged as the old lady. So I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, so we meet the queen, then we meet Snow White. Oh my god, she's like the fucking most naive. She's like, I'm a princess and I talk like this. Like
in 2018 speak, we're gonna call her a manic pixie dream girl.
Yeah, like when I heard that voice, I was like, Oh my god, that fucking voice. And then she starts singing and it's all like vibrato or whatever. I don't know if is that the term for it. I don't know. She has an interesting voice. Fact about that voice. So I looked online. Adriana Casaloti is the voice of Snow White, both speaking and singing. And she got the part. She earned $970 for the work on the film. And then Walt Disney made her sign a strict contract saying that she could not act or sing for any movies or any other radio program. She was basically put out of work after this movie.
Yeah, Walt Disney's pretty sweet, you guys.
Yeah, he really liked women.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like a recurring theme.
He treated them really well. You know, they weren't allowed to be animators.
Come on.
Anyway.
Stay with the movie.
Yes. But I did think it was a very, like, succinct way to show, like, she's very pure and naive. And the point came across over and over and over again. I did like, when we first met her, she was wearing wooden clogs.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah.
I did really like her outfit. I just thought it was very, I don't know, timely. So then she's singing this song, and then this prince shows up, and he's like, I'm just going to show up and invade your song and be a creeper and not ask you if you want to be in your
creepy.
song.
You can't be creepy on a fucking horse unless you're Roy Moore.
Anyway, yeah, he just shows up and is like, yeah, I'm going to sing with you, I guess. I don't know. Have you watched Enchanted with Amy Adams?
Yes,
and
it's
James
amazing.
Marsden?
I actually watched it on the plane ride back from Dallas.
Oh, you did? Oh, we watched it on the plane ride back from Disney. That must be the only movie they have. So it really made me think a lot about that movie because I think that's such a great like parody of Snow White.
I think it's an homage more than anything else, more so than a parody.
Both.
Yeah, I guess.
I'll venture with both. Fair. So yeah, Prince shows up. Love at first sight. Oh, just like you and me. I thought the backgrounds were beautiful. They look like watercolor. I didn't really research those much. As always, they do a great job with backgrounds. What was with that like weird kiss? Like she kissed the bird and then the bird went down and kissed him. Do you remember that part? Were you asleep yet? Yeah, so like there was like doves which were animated beautifully. I loved how they animated those doves. And she,
when she was up in the window?
Yeah. That, like, dove comes up and she, like, kisses it. And then it, like, flies down to the prince. And the dove, like, pecks the prince on the lip.
I think it's to let the prince know, like, she's into you, bro. Like, this is going to happen. Like, just keep your game up.
Is that how we show affection?
I think so, through doves.
Screw Tinder. Like, get you a fucking dove.
It's not animal cruelty or bestiality.
So then it goes back to the queen. And I like how the queen is like, you know, Snow White is prettier than me, so fucking murder her and cut out her heart.
Yeah, seems legit.
Yeah, that's how you deal with it. Those of you listening, our furnace just kicked on, so there's a weird
Don't worry, this isn't like
background.
Nightmare on Elm Street or anything like that. You're not going to get killed.
Some weird breathing air sounds. There are some animated hands that I thought were a little iffy, but there is some rotoscoping, like the dance scene with the elf dwarves, excuse me. You can tell it's rotoscoped. It's very smooth. It's very anatomically correct.
They're just that good.
Yeah, they're just that good. There was a part where I thought, if I were a small child seeing this for the first time, it's fucking scary. Were you awake during the forest when she runs through the forest and things have eyes and they're like, the branches are grabbing her? Apparently it was so scary that in the original showing back in 1937, a bunch of kids pissed themselves in the seats. Like, I mean, animation wasn't really, like, kids didn't really go to the movies as much. There were shorts and stuff, but...
They were pretty sensitive back in the day, too.
Yeah, they weren't desensitized They weren't
yet.
Exposed to, like, The Purge or whatever fucking movies might... Yeah.
Fucking Deadpool.
So she sang a lot. She sang a lot of songs.
Yep.
She sang about love.
Definitely a thing.
She sang about cleaning up,
yep.
which I love. Like, that's probably my favorite is with the animals cleaning. I think the comedy is really cute.
Is that why they took the cooking song out then?
Yeah.
So we're not just singing about all the things that women
let's
do.
Sing about what we're doing right now. We're making a podcast. La la la. One thing that I like hated about it is the score of the movie is fucking constant.
Yeah.
There's never like a moment of silence. It's always like every little movement is punctuated with like a violin. Just it's okay. Just there can be silence. Just stop. But a lot of that comedy I think is coming from a lot of the shorts. You can kind of see it coming from maybe the earlier Mickey or things that they've done, especially with the animals and some silly stuff. The dwarves come in. Guess what? They're singing.
What?
What?
Oh my God.
I thought it was weird. They're singing "Hi Ho." It's off to work.
And then
we
they meet
go.
and then they meet a gal.
No,
Oh.
they're singing "Hi Ho." Yeah, that took me a second. They're singing off to work we go, but they're going home. So I was like, that's weird.
I don't like eating is work sometimes.
And then Snow White's like, I'm gonna fucking just go through this random house in the woods.
Because that worked out really well for Little Red Riding Hood.
There's a lot of sound effects with the comedic timing. Dopey was a little weird. Why does he not have a beard? Why is he mute?
He could have alopecia.
I don't know. Like
Representation back in the 30s.
He's like an old, young thing. I don't know.
Yeah, he's got like
it's kind of weird.
I was going to say Gilbert Grape, but...
So
I can not think of the name.
Oh my God. So let's get into my gripes. I know you have a lot of gripes about this movie.
I really don't.
No?
Not a ton.
I think you were asleep by this time.
That is bull. Okay, you guys, I did fall asleep. I don't remember when it was. I ate a lot of food that night, as I do most nights, because I am a glutton. And I fell asleep. Sometimes I can't stay awake. You know, I'm 34 now, very old, very, very old.
So my gripe is things take too long.
Yeah.
I like up to the point where she got to the cottage and they cleaned up. I was like, oh, this is so charming. It's adorable, if not a little like shallow, because you know there's not much to Snow White.
And they're in that cottage for a while.
For a fucking long time. Like I was in my head like, how long is this all taking? Like a day?
It was the movie itself is I think 80 minutes long, and it felt like 2 hours at least.
It was a long movie. But yeah, even just when the dwarfs come home and they're like trying to work up the courage to find out what's in the house, takes so long. Like you could cut that in half, in fourths. I don't know. I was a little amused when Grumpy said about women that they have wicked wiles. I was like, the 1930s. There's some really beautiful details in the cottage. Like if you look at the steps, there's like carved owls in them. So
they were so in back in the 30s.
And then after that really long time at the cottage, we finally go back to the castle, and she realizes that Snow White's still alive, and for some reason the queen wears 2 capes. I don't know. I like that she has this bookshelf of all these evil things, and one book is literally called Disguises.
Disguises. Fucking Groucho Marx nose and glasses.
I liked how the room spun as she transformed into the witch. That was a really cool effect.
Yeah, that was a cool effect.
Her nose, holy shit.
No shame.
Yeah. So then we go back to the cottage again, which is like the worst part of the movie because they're dancing and they're having fun. And it's like, I get it. It's silly. It's fun. It's dwarves. Like,
it is at this point that we need to remember this is a kid's movie.
Yeah.
You guys. It's not for us.
No.
Or at least it wasn't.
No. Well, I don't know. Because like a lot of those movies, like, they're kind of meant for both. They were.
Even back then?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think movies were for everyone at that time.
I guess.
We weren't.
Well, not everyone.
Was the witch breaking the fourth wall? Was she like talking to us?
I don't believe so.
There's moments where she's like staring at us. I mean, not us, but like she's looking at the camera. So I was like, is that supposed to be a fourth wall, or is this dramatic?
I assumed it was the mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about them vultures? What about them vultures, babe?
Just there. I don't know.
There's
creepy,
some fucking weird ass vultures. Now, if you ever read the original story of Snow White, the witch comes to like trick her like 3 times.
Oh, not just the once?
No, not just the once. The apple is the 3rd time.
Yeah.
So Disney just skipped all that.
Which is fine because then it would have been even longer.
Yeah, it's fucking long as it is. But yeah, so, the witch shows up. She takes a bite of this apple. She goes to sleep forever. The dwarves put her in a coffin of golden glass.
Because they don't want to put her in the ground for whatever reason, because they just want a rotting corpse in their house.
She's so beautiful. That's why
and that'll definitely stay through, rigor mortis and decay.
After they've met her the one time, they're like, we love her so much, we're going to put her in a glass coffin.
Some dudes are like that.
I know.
Ladies, watch out.
Am I so beautiful you'd put me in a glass coffin?
Plead the 5th. Oh,
I didn't talk about the turtle.
What about the turtle?
The turtle.
He just gets owned throughout the entire movie?
Every time he's trying to catch up with everybody, and he's just always behind.
Yeah.
I felt bad for that. I think I connected most with that turtle.
Okay.
It's that fear of missing out.
That's probably exactly what it is. That's what he's there for.
He just couldn't catch a break. But yeah, so anyway, she's in a coffin now.
Yeah.
And then
super not dead.
the prince just happens to come by, and he's like, there's a lady in a coffin, and then he kisses her, and blah, 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 she wakes up.
Yeah.
This is all, like, the uninteresting stuff to me. I liked all the beginning stuff with the witch, and, like, I thought she was really cool.
Well, the biggest problem for me is when she poisons Snow White with the apple, and she's super decrepit now and disgusting, not hot like she used to be with her sick-ass crown. And she's on the run from the dwarfs, and when she actually dies, or they, quote-unquote, defeat her, it is so anticlimactic.
Yeah.
I mean, the lightning strikes the rocks for whatever reason. I don't get that at all. And then, she falls. And that's it. That's
kind
it.
of a Disney thing, though, and we'll see that more as we go through the catalog more, is the bad guys die off screen. I think about Tarzan comes to mind. Have you seen Tarzan?
You get to see that motherfucker's legs hanging, though.
Do you?
Or a shadow or something. Know that he got hung from those vines.
I just remember the vines tightening, that's all.
Yeah.
But then,
they did.
Like when Scar goes off the cliff, he just goes off the cliff, and you don't see where he ends up.
I guess, the
hyenas meet him, so I'm wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, the vultures follow your girl down.
I do think it's a thing where, like, the death happens off camera, and
it's a kid's movie, so I get that.
I mean, they've already pissed their pants.
And I don't want to make this sound like it was complete garbage or something like that. One thing that I wanted to make really clear from my perspective is context is very, very important with anything like this, and especially this. For any gripes that I might have about the content of the movie, the humor, any of that stuff, it has to be taken into account that this is 1937, and this is like the first animated feature for Disney and probably for anybody in the U.S. And looking at it through that lens, with all things set aside, this it definitely is an achievement. The animation I think is beautiful. I don't have the artistic eye that Stephanie does because I didn't go to art school.
Art school didn't help
but yeah,
with
it's the animation is gorgeous. The backgrounds are amazing, and I mean even for these days, if I saw backgrounds that look like that, I would think that's beautiful. This is amazing work. So that stuff has aged extremely well. My biggest problems with the movie were that it was slow. The pacing I thought was off a little bit, and just the characters were very thin.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that. Who did you think was the most interesting dwarf?
I don't know. I don't really think any of the dwarfs were that interesting. Most people would say Grumpy just because he's such a shithead, but not even then.
They gave a lot of time to Grumpy, and I think he was a little more fleshed out.
Yeah.
As far as like character development, there was none in this movie, but there was a part where Grumpy
softens up.
Yeah, he softens up, and he wants to be kissed on the head by Snow White when he leaves for work, but he doesn't know how to do it.
And then she does, and he's like, "Oh, I was a nice guy, and you're a
I was a nice guy." We're all not nice guys over here. Moral of the story is: don't take magic apples from strangers.
Yeah, watch a PSA, Snow White. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, those after-school specials. I like how at the end the prince kisses her. She wakes up. They're all happy, and then she's like, "Bye, dwarves. Thanks for, putting me in a coffin and letting me stay in your house, and I'm leaving now." She just leaves. Okay. I wrote in here, someday I'll lose weight so Kevin can carry me off like that prince does.
I totally can. I'm jacked, you guys.
Yeah, a total of 84 minutes. Yeah.
That's about it.
That is about it.
I don't think we really have a whole lot other than that, you guys.
I don't want to be as long and boring and slow as Snow White, so I think we'll wrap it up. Yeah, so I'm excited about this.
Yeah, it could work out. I'm excited to see a lot of the different movies since I really haven't seen most of them, at least all the way through.
Do you remember any from your childhood?
Mostly just stuff like Aladdin and The Lion King, stuff that was from the mid-90s, from when I was 10.
The Disney Renaissance is kind of what it's known as.
Yep.
Alrighty, so we hope to continue with this. I'm going to make you continue with this.
Yeah.
Our next episode will feature the short Lambert the sheepish lion. And the second Disney movie theatrical feature is Pinocchio.
Hell yeah.
I am not looking forward to watching this one. So
I totally am.
It's been a while, so hopefully it'll change my mind. As an adult, hopefully I'll appreciate it more. But yeah, I think this is good, babe. We got down to business.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Stephanie.
And Disney is our business. And business is good.
You're a dork.